So here's a problem. A lot of times in kind of tight spaces like this, that's actually the laundry room behind there. Now, one, we need to have a wide enough door for a washer and dryer to go in, so it's got to be a pretty big door. But in this instance, if it swung in, it'd be in the way and hit stuff. They chose to swing it out, but when it swings out, it swings across and hits this jamb right there. This really doesn't work very well. So if we had lots of wall space, a barn style door would be a good solution, maybe even a new construction, a pocket door. But you know, there's always challenges with pocket doors. For instance, if that slid back in there, we couldn't have any electric boxes or anything back in there. We couldn't have any plumbing. So that's kind of why barn style doors became popular. But in this instance, there's no room either way for a barn style door to swing or slide. But my good friends at Custom Service Hardware, CSH, came up with a solution for that that kind of combines the beauty, the look, and the function of a barn style door, but in a place where you don't have any room for one. So sometimes on a project, you have to start left to go right. In other words, for what we're getting ready to do, we had to remove this door stop. And I just wanted to share with you a tool that you may not be aware of. It's a pretty simple deal, but it's this little pry bar. It's a very flat pry bar. It has a pretty sharp end. This actually works great as a putty knife. You probably could even use this as a screwdriver. But what I want to do is show you how easy it is to remove this piece of door stop with this little flat pry bar. First thing I want to say is, a lot of times if your painter's any good at all, they caulked everything. So this is also a common tool you need to use when you do this kind of demo. We cut the caulk joint on either side, and then I'm just going to take this, get it down about like that, and I can actually just take now and hook that like so. And this works great too if you're pulling baseboard or anything. These actually used to be called hive tools, but it's just a little flat pry bar that you get almost any place that tools are sold, and they're probably anywhere from 8, 10, 12 bucks, maybe 14 or 15, but they are worth their weight in gold, and they've even got a placer for pulling nails. But for me, it's just great for pulling any kind of trim with the least amount of damage. So we've actually already patched the bottom and this middle one, and again, I'm using a patch piece that's relatively thick, and that's maybe not quite a quarter, but I want something that I could glue and nail in there and not have to worry about it splitting. So this is the jig that I'm using. I just made a cut out of a piece of plywood. That is that pattern bit. It's a white side half-inch pattern bit. And the way it works, again, that bearing is just going to follow the notch I made in this. And it's set deep enough to where it's going to take out, it's right around a quarter. So, let's see, there's only one way this is going to work. That's it. I'm just putting this about right there. And I made sure that the patch piece is clearly bigger than the hinge, so I don't have to worry about being exact, line it up. Want to shoot couple. I'm just using a 21. You know what? I'm going to put one extra in there. I sure don't want to move. This 1 1/4 21 gauge brad in there. And the key to this, got to keep the base of the router flush on my template. I'm going to make sure I'm not in contact with any wood when I start. And of course, I'm going to go counterclockwise. All right, that feels really good. I'm just going to pop this template out. I'm really glad we decided to remove the door stop. This would have been 100% harder to do with this door stop in place. And I just wiggle these nails back and forth until they break below the surface. And that's the only way to do it. All right. Now, got a couple little patch pieces. See which, oh. So that was a 1/2 inch bit, so I had a 1/4 inch raise in the corner. So I've actually got to take a chisel and square those corners out. Which is not a lot to remove, but if I don't get it out of there, it's going to make a real mess. That one didn't get quite up high enough. This chisel was actually quite dull. I thought maybe I had another one in my truck, but I actually just did my job site sharpening trick of taking the belt sander to it, and that's another one of the YouTube videos that I've got on my channel you can check out. All right. Now then, that's really tight. What I'm going to do on this back side is just make a couple little passes with my block plane just to kind of ease it in there a little bit better. All right. And on that back, I'm going to hit a couple licks too. Again, I'm putting a pretty severe angle on it, which is fine as long as I don't get all the way out to the face. All right. Now then, I think that's going to be fine. Just put some tight bond on it. So it's really close. It's maybe just a fuzz thick, which I can fix a little bit thick. I'm going to go ahead and put, these are very small, but that 21 gauge has just a little bit of a head, which gives me the pulling power I want. The last thing I'm going to do for right now, we've been going over this with some I think that's 40 grit sandpaper. And the trick for me is if I can't feel it, you're not going to see it when it's painted. The painter, I'm sure, will do a little bit more touching up. Maybe it was a little bit, maybe like some 100 grit or even 120. But I feel like we've done our job as the carpenters that way. So that's a great way to patch door hinges like that. This could be, you know, sometimes people decide they don't want to have a door and an opening anymore instead of replacing the whole jamb. If you do a good job of patching it like that where you can't feel it, once it's painted, you'll never know that there's a hinge there. And of course, this is actually part of a bigger project to replace the door that was here with a bifold barn style door. So I'm hoping you'll check out that video also.